The college football experience, Final Four for the college football playoff reaction show and early national championship look ahead episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, this is Eric Metcalf. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Welcome to the college football experience. College football playoff Final Four reaction show and early look at the national championship. We are down to two teams as both games over the past 2 days delivered
big time. Yeah.
With some drama. There was a point in the Ohio State Texas game early on. I was like, it's pretty fucking boring, but but it delivered as it came back. It's just something about a game in a dome makes me fall asleep a little bit. You know the routine. YouTube.com/the college experience. Hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dad, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
He's the kind of guy that would drink a gallon of gasoline so he could piss in your campfire. You could drop this guy off at the Arctic Circle wearing a pair of bikini underwear without his toothbrush, and tomorrow afternoon he's going to show up at your poolside with $1 million smile and a fistful of pesos.
I will piss in your campfire, but maybe it's a sore subject. Over here with my co-host. I can't believe you have internet. Can't believe you have walls.
It's cutting it pretty close over here. We are broadcasting from a national emergency. That's how seriously we take this shit.
I love how we're taking the bandwidth away from, I don't know, KCAL or some
fire
shit.
Department, yeah.
Yeah. Well, fire department knows they don't have anything anyway.
I'm just running as much power through these power lines as possible.
Maybe we can start our own fire with my picks and this internet here. Buddy, it's good. I'm glad you're alive. I've been worried. I've been texting friends. I would frequent a lot of the places that have just been taken off the map by this fire.
Oh man, we just talked about it. Malibu seafood gone. Really sad about that. Pretty sad about that.
So I'm delighted to see that you're healthy. You have walls. Because I saw some photos from like the Santa Monica Pier. Yeah. That were just
apocalyptic.
Yeah, I mean, they look like the fire wasn't that far away, and I used to go to Moon Shadows all the time. It's gone. Anyway, we're rambling. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh.
Let's go, buddy. Down to two games. Shout out to
down to two teams.
Oh yeah, down to two teams. I can't talk. Shout out to Daquan. I couldn't think of your name last night on the basketball show. My apologies. I had cloud brain. Classic case of cloud brain, which is what Steve Sarkisian might have had on that big time call.
Yeah.
Oh,
Quinn Ewers had when he was getting his front side blasted. Nice awareness there.
Yeah. We will have a conversation about the white quarterback, but wait, we have a third man in the booth.
Hello.
Third man. What is this special guest? Just showing up. Give it up for the host of the NBA Gambling Podcast and the WNBA Gambling Podcast, Terrell Furman Jr.
Boom.
Yeah.
How you doing? And let's see if I can correct this. What is up? And how are you, man?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great. Watched a pretty good game here. Shout out to Sawyer, Jack Sawyer, for cashing Ohio State, laying 6. Appreciate that. Just making sure we get that in the bank. So it was a good day.
It was a good day, and the Buckeyes. You know, I'll be honest, and I'm curious your guys' thoughts. I actually thought they kept fucking around. I thought Ohio State was the better team, and I was like, they're gonna fuck around and lose this game.
Yeah.
Like, I thought they were way better, but they just blew a lot of opportunities. Like the first 3 quarters, and the
freaking wheel route. It's the wheel route.
And then, like honestly, if they hadn't got that screen right before the half, that they broke that thing for a touchdown on the very next play, I think. It might be a different story in this game, but I mean,
a couple fumbles also like could have gone either way. Obviously, the Arch Manning fumble wasn't technically a fumble. I don't know if you would consider that one. The Quinn Ewers little shuffle pass there. A couple things went Texas's way, but a big one went Ohio State's way when Howard fumbled close to his own end zone and got it back right away. That could have been a game changer.
There was a couple blown holding calls that actually favored Ohio State. Yeah, and I hated the unsportsmanlike conduct for the shit talk.
Pretty weak.
Oh yeah, the point.
Yeah, come on.
You do have to be way smarter than that. You have to know. Like you are talking.
You're down. You're down. You're down. Yeah. Like you're down. Come on. Like let's get the lead and then we'll do the pointing.
Exactly.
I mean, to their credit. It was immediately right after a huge big play to the other side of the field of Golden. So like,
went away real quick.
I still have an issue with the ref calling that. It's like, know your fucking role, dude.
Yeah,
it's an emotional game. It's an emotional game. I'm sure he wasn't talking too much shit. Like it was enough that he made a big play, kind of stiff armed Caleb Downs, who's regarded as the best fucking safety in the country. So it's like, of course you're going to be like, yeah, you know, and then it's like, just keep the flag in the pocket. Yeah, if he had gone up, if he had gotten face to face and talked shit and push it, you know, like it's different to me, you know, like
I blame both of them though. I blame the ref because I think you got to, you know, swallow the whistle there and keep the flag in the bucket, but you also have to be smarter as a player than to just blatantly talk shit like in that moment. Stupid.
Yeah. You got to be smart as a player, but it's the best safety in the country. You won a stiff arm battle, and it's like, you know, you got to talk a little shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you got to be like, yeah, I can't believe I did that to Caleb Downs. You know, like I don't know. I'm on the player here. I'm on the player side.
It was a lot. It was a lot. The pitch on. I mean. The play call at the 1 was very concerning, and I think that's the thing everybody's talking about. That's the thing everybody's like, how do you not give the ball to Arch? How do you not and you know, it is what it is, man. Like they probably run that same play a million times in practice, and it might have worked. And it's like, dog, Ohio State was fast on the ball. The defense was lights out. Again, shout out to Jack Sawyer. Cashing us Ohio State laying 6. Also being reminded he did cash us Ohio State defensive touchdown as well. Like that was a nice little plus money bet that was given out, and
Terrell cleaned up.
It was great. Yeah, Jack Sawyer is like really good with me. Like on everything, Jack Sawyer is good with me today. I promise you. But
you're about to help him rip down that Michigan flag next time, huh?
Oh yeah. And it's so funny because it's like. I've been talking about this entire time that Ryan Day was a dead man walking. And, you know, that's a really scary thing. Like if you see a dead man walking, you turn and go the other way. You do something else. You don't go charging at the dead man because he has nothing to live for. And the play calling all like the entire run has been amazing because at the end of the game, to call that screen, and you don't think you're about to get a 75-yard touchdown, but it develops perfectly. It happens perfectly, and it's like you take that shot and you go up 14, you go up 7, you know, at half. Like Ryan Day, he does that because he's a dead man walking. He has to perform. I don't know. I have no idea how Notre Dame's going to be in it.
I'm intrigued by that because you have obviously they played over the past 2 years, and specifically the game in South Bend was a game. Obviously, you know, people wanted to fire Marcus Freeman for only having 10 out there the final 2 plays of the game. I think he's doing okay. But they were in that game. Now, granted, Will Howard wasn't there. Caleb Downs wasn't there. Judkins wasn't there. But, a lot of the same team was there. That to me is going to be, I think, closer just because you have so much familiarity. When you get a chance, Marcus Freeman was there 2 years ago too. So it's like, not only is he from Ohio State, which adds a little drama to it. You have, and the Lou Holtz comments to Ryan Day, Lou Holtz just catching strays, being like, what's this? Lou Holtz,
by the way, called that game to a T, called a 14-point Ohio State win. So pretty impressive there.
Yeah, and same with the old pick Dundee, who said double-digit win 14, for Ohio State. Yeah, I had it at 14. I had it exactly at 14.
Kobe said, "Hey, don't forget about me." I said that too. Stop giving us somebody else the credit.
I'll say it without spitting on your face like Lou Holtz. All right, he's not doing it on purpose. It's just that's Lou Holtz. Want to talk more about this game because look, Sark's getting a lot of the blame for the pitch. Even my oldest brother texted me saying, "What a terrible play call! Can't do that." Now, I'm the first to shit on Sark because I don't believe he's that good of a coach. But I mean, Ohio State's defense is fire in the goal line. I mean, maybe you should have ran Arch. Hindsight's 2020. How bad do you think that it was of a play call, Terrell, to do the pitch left? The toss left at that point in the game, right at the 2-yard line, 1.5 yard line, whatever it was. I just think
solid
D. To the short side of the field too.
It's a solid D. Like it's a solid D. It may not be failing. I'm not going to give you a fail. You thought you were going to catch him slipping. I see the thought process, but like there was a whole list of other things that we could have done that was probably better. Like that's a solid D. You didn't pass. You barely passed. Like barely, maybe, possibly. But if you go into some other different curriculums, you need a C- to pass. So like it's a solid D, like legit D.
Yeah. I mean. Ewers is also known to throw a pick. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if you pass it there, I mean, he fumbled. Ewers has just been all over the place in his college career. There's times where he looks incredible. There's times where he looks like shit.
Well, let me say this, and this will relate to the Notre Dame game. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, but Ewers, that I think an offense needs to be 3-dimensional, right? You need to be able to have a quarterback that can run. You need to have a running back that can run, and you need to have, presumably a downfield threat, right? If you have 2 of those 3, you're going to be struggling to move the ball. If you have 1 of those 3, you're dead in the water. If you have 2 of those 3, you're going to manage, anywhere from 17 to 20 points against a good defense, depending on how good you are. If you have all 3 of those, then maybe you start to compromise the defense a little bit and move the ball. And Texas just didn't have that. Will Howard, not Will Howard. Quinn Ewers. He was just, that's what they were limited to. They could run the ball a little bit, and then they could throw the ball here and there. But Ohio State never had to worry about him, and so all they had to play was those 2 things, which they can manage for the most part. That was the difference. Even though he's a better thrower than Will Howard, the fact that Will Howard in clutch moments had that extra ability to move the chains, that was the difference in the game to me. And that's been the difference all playoffs for basically all of the games. I do think that's why Notre Dame has a little bit of a chance. They don't really have much of a downfield threat. It's completely predicated on their ability to establish like short runs and short passes, which I think, God, who's homeboy on Notre Dame? I'm drawing a blank on his name too.
Wide receiver? What are we talking about?
No, quarterback.
Riley Leonard. Yeah.
Riley Leonard. I mean, he finally, was able to get a little bit. They were running a lot of quarterback draws. That wasn't working. It was the RPOs that were working for Notre Dame, and he was able to turn those into 4-yard passes or 3-yard runs, enough to keep the chains moving. And it finally sucked the Penn State defense up, and then they were able to throw over the top a couple times, and it hit. And so I think maybe he'll be able to do that against Ohio State. It's going to be a little harder, but still, it's 3 dimensions of football that they bring to the table as opposed to just 2 that Texas had.
Yeah. I want to just dive more into this game with the Ohio State Texas. We'll talk about Notre Dame and Penn State in a second, but Texas, which I thought coming into the playoffs, I thought had the best offensive line. The only rush for I think was 44 yards against Arizona State. Today, only 58. Now I kind of thought that was the big part of this.
Exactly. Because you have to rely on Quinn Ewers, and he's not the quarterback for that. And I hope the New York Giants see that when they're evaluating the quarterback position, because it seems that for some reason Quinn Ewers is entering the draft. I have no idea why. Go. Did you not see what Carson Beck just got? I know you can get more than Carson Beck.
The New York Giants had to be sitting there watching Will Howard trip on the turf, taking their glasses off, being like, "That's our guy. That's our fucking guy."
Good one. That was a good one. Yeah.
No, dude, that one hurt. That one hurt white people. I just had a moment. I was like, "Oh shit, he's breaking this for a touchdown." I'm like, perfect. The old, like, just not athletic enough to run. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you're going faster than you think. That was what Daniel Jones' issue was. He was going so fast that it was like, oh man, and you trip. I've talked to players and they said yes, it does happen, and it's just embarrassing.
It's a white thing though, Terrell.
It is a white thing. It happened to me one time. I was underage drinking back in the day, Patty, and the cops showed up, and all of us dipped out, and I ran way faster than my body. I ran way faster than my body, and I ate a pile of shit. And luckily, well, actually, I guess twice, Patty C, because I was thinking of a different story. But you're right. One with you.
I hurdled your head on that one.
I just ate shit. What it was one of those. It was one of those new trees they had planted where they had one of the wires there. They're like balancing it. I did not see that wire, and I ate just a pile of shit.
Mud.
Just fantastic stuff. But no, I mean that was a tough look. Now passing the ball. So Texas wasn't really able to get it going. I thought that would be an X factor. Ohio State's got maybe the best defensive line in the country. Texas was only able to rush for 58 yards. And still they were in the game, which I honestly thought Ryan Day actually kind of did a shitty job tonight, but Ohio State got the dub. The yardage, Ohio State only had like 29 yards more than Texas in this game. Both teams held under 400 yards. Did you have the game going like that, Terrell? Did you think that both teams, like I personally thought Ohio State would get 500 yards again? I mean, Arizona State just put up over 500. Clemson had 420. Ohio State only with 370. It's pretty surprising.
I didn't see this game at all. I'm fortunate that my bet hit. I was sitting there thinking, oh man, it just looked like the entire game that at some point Texas was going to come through the back door and you weren't going to be able to cover, or it was going to push, and it was going to push right at 6. We were going to go to overtime or something like that. Like I was very, very nervous for the bet the entire game because the game didn't go how I thought it was going to go. I thought this was going to be more of an offensive game where we could see some back and forth scoring the entirety of the game. No, it was a lot of 3 and out, punt. Great defense, and both of the two defenses really, really showed up. And again, for me, it's that run game. Like the pitch call on at the one also just kind of shows the run game for Texas has really fallen off in the past 2 games, and Arizona State figured something out, and then Ohio State built upon that, and they were able to keep them from running the ball like they did against Texas A&M when they went and closed out the season and had that incredible great rushing game. Like the run game just kind of fell off the last 2 games.
I'm curious what really Texas A&M's run defense is, because obviously they went off on Clemson.
Texas A&M or Texas?
Texas did. Went off on Clemson, but we looked at it. Clemson had the 86 rush defense, and then Arizona State had the 26 rush defense. So it made sense that Texas struggled a little more against Arizona State. Obviously, Ohio State a top 10 rush defense, so that makes sense. But
some of that was I think like Arizona State went out and got like backups in the portal. Now that D line overachieved, but I was pretty surprised at how they held up. And I think some of those numbers are a little jaded because of how many teams they faced that like to pass the ball. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, you can't deny Arizona State's defense played fantastic that game. I just am pretty surprised that Ohio State got out of that. Now that opening after they got that screen right before the half, they open the third quarter and they're like at the Texas 40 and Will Howard throws a gigantic interception. Right then I was like, they're going to lose this fucking game. They're going to find a way to lose this fucking game. Just because you just felt like Texas was hanging around enough, but yeah, they got it done. Any other thoughts, guys, on this one? Am I crazy to think that Ryan Day kind of coached a shitty game, or is that just me being a harsh critic?
I think you're being a harsh critic. I think he was fine. And the players went out there and the players played, a great game. I think the defense for Texas really impressed me and being able to limit this Ohio State team. And I think that it's a good enough game where you get the win, but you also have something to work on before the national championship, because they have to figure out a way to move the ball on Notre Dame's defense now, who is also a good defense. And so they got to consistently move the ball. But I mean, it just seems like there's a rabbit stuck it up Ohio State's ass, and they're gonna figure it out. Like this game, in a game where they feel like they didn't play their best game, they still won by 14. Like,
yeah.
I mean, here's the flip side of that, is that it was 2 games that Ohio State played great football, and I think everyone is under the assumption that Ohio State, that is who they are all year round. That's what they're gonna be for the entirety of the playoff, and I don't think so. I think Ohio State's previous 12 games are a good reflection. And then that's a little bit up and a little bit down, whether it be Michigan or Penn State games that they struggled in, that might be what we see against Notre Dame with them. And so I don't think that this is necessarily them playing a shitty game. I agree with you, Terrell. I don't think it's a terribly called game by Ryan Day. I think it was decent given that Texas decided to take away the home runs, and they played situational football, and they were pretty much always at an advantage in the game. So, give Day some credit there.
And they didn't have Jeremiah Smith. Like, Texas completely eliminated Jeremiah Smith from the game. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Which, Notre Dame, I think, probably has a similar capability, maybe not quite to Texas's ability, but pretty close, I think.
I do the same thing.
I think Texas,
exactly.
Notre Dame's got a better
safety,
defense than Texas.
You got a safety over top everywhere Jeremiah Smith is. He's out the game. Whole side of the field gone.
Yeah.
Xavier Watts is a great dude to match up with him.
The problem is Notre Dame's some of their best defensive players are injured and they're not coming back. So I don't know. We'll see. But Jeremiah Love, by the way, I wanted Ohio State. You see that he tweeted that out saying
he wanted to go to Ohio State.
No, he wants to play
Ohio State. He wanted to play Ohio State.
Yeah, because
he was start with the locker room fodder, not the team you want to be talking shit to right now.
No, for real. Like this again. Maybe the Oregon game saved him, and if he lost this game, he still might have been saved.
It is ridiculous, though. What he's saying, the world doubted us.
No,
like,
I will say this: after the Michigan game, you are right. Everybody douded you after that game. Did you see how you looked in the Michigan game?
When the bracket came out, I put Ohio State in the national championship.
I didn't doubt you. I had him in the Natty because I thought that man had no other choice but to win. If he lost, like, think about this.
They're gonna burn down his house.
I made a tweet, and so think about this. The final 4 seeds, the top 4 seeds of the final college football playoff was Oregon, it was Georgia, it was Texas, and it was Penn State. If this was last year and we had a 14 playoff, then Ohio State's end of the season would have been them losing that game to Michigan. And I promise you. I mean, it's not going to happen. I guess we'll never know. It never happened. But if that was the last game of the season, Ryan Day was going to be fired. Like that would have made him fired.
Yeah,
so the fact that we now have a 12-team format, he needs to thank the 12-team format because now he had a chance to go on this run, get the Natty, and also like there's no way if that was the last game of their season and they missed the playoff because of that loss to Michigan that he was keeping his job. Like, I just don't believe
he needs to thank the college experience. Because we've been the ones
we've been talking about this. And Ohio State fans, I think a lot of them didn't want the 12-team playoff. You should be thanking the 12-team playoff.
No, like he should really be on his hands and knees thanking the 12-team. I promise you, if this was a 14 playoff and that Michigan game was the thing that kept him out, like he is on the. Well, I mean, he's got millions of dollars. He's not on the street. But like he's not coaching Ohio State anymore.
But I'm talking about all the Ohio State fans. All right, and look, they're used to like to me they're used to making the 4 team. They were, I think, a lot of them I argued with, I feel like on social media that they wanted to keep it at 4. Here it is saving your ass. All right. And we all know some of those years were some bullshit and you're getting in, even including the one you won the Natty and the fucking COVID season where you played like 3 games. All right. So, the 12
RIP to Penn State. RIP to Penn State, man.
Yeah, we should probably talk about that a little bit.
Finally made a top 4, and it doesn't matter because it's a 12-team playoff, and you still had to run into Notre Dame.
Let's talk about that, but hang on one second. Folks, I want to tell you the college football experience is part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and yes, the NFL playoffs are here, and no matter how European the NFL wants to become with their bullshit kickoff and declaring for an onside kick like it's fucking World War II, look, the NFL players are here, and there's money to be made. And the Sports Gambling Podcast has you covered for all of your NFL picks and props. So hop on over there, check them out, and remember to always let it ride. We're also brought to you by DraftKings. Yes, playoffs. We're talking about playoffs. You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs. And you can score big by betting on all of them at DraftKings, the number 1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your bet? Try betting on something simple, like a player to score a touchdown. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 and get 200 bonus bets instantly. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use that promo code SGP. Once again, that promo code SGP for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms or responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Good job.
All right, we are back. Yeah, they gave me
Micro Machines guy over here.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
they gave me that. They gave me that clip. I don't fuck around with that clip. I'm always playing stuff.
Yeah, Kobe said, fuck the audio. I've been doing myself.
We'll do it live.
I be playing it on my show, but Kobe said. Yeah.
I played it one episode and I wasn't paying attention and shit just kept looping. It was like I did it for it was like 3 minutes of that ad, and then I was like, oh shit.
Hey,
I can't imagine the joint just starting to play.
Yeah, I'm just like, is he still talking about the same thing? I lost interest at the 1-800 Boot Hill Casino bullshit. Let's talk about this other game. Notre Dame. By the way, I mean, I nailed Ohio State. I'm on fire, guys. Whether the bowl season, this is probably the best bowl season and playoff I've ever had in my life, because I feel like I haven't got many games wrong since November. Notre Dame. I had Notre Dame to win by 1 to 5 points. So I cashed in big on this one. And the Irish got it done 27-24. And my handicap, I feel like, was spot fucking on.
Don't take too much credit, because that was the most obvious consensus play that pretty much everyone in the world knew exactly what was going to happen in the game.
Why did Nick take Penn State then?
Well, because Nick liked Penn State when he was 8 years old. That's probably why.
No, he really believed. And look, I don't know about that. Allar, not many people said Allar to make the game losing decision besides myself. I know a lot of people probably thought that. They didn't say it into a microphone. Yeah, you didn't say it into a microphone. Check the fucking
I said no. Play the microphone. I said he will lawn chair, and lo and behold, he lawn chaired. He fucking lawn chaired as hard as you can lawn chair
all game. But the one play, you gotta be a little more clear. Next year.
No. I mean, yeah, but I thought across the course of the game, he benefited from the refs bailing him out on the 2 interceptions he did throw in the end zone. That
second one was horseshit.
The defensive holding.
Second one was horseshit.
So he lawn chaired early, but certainly late in the game. Maybe you called that specifically, so credit to you on that one.
Yeah, but, I was a hard handicap. I just said the game will be on the line. He'll make a turnover. Notre Dame will capitalize off it. Now, again, I'm not saying I'm Alfred Einstein over here.
That's Alfred Einstein.
It's a Kingpin reference if you get that. But anyway, Penn State, James Franklin. Let's be honest here. He pulled a great Pat Narduzzi by kicking a field goal at the 2-yard line on the first drive.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
The one.
I think it was at the 1. I think it was at the 1, maybe like the 1, like 1.5. But man, that's a bold. Like I couldn't help watching that.
For
the next drive
at the 20.
it took Riley Leonard to get concussed to start playing football. Like that's how I felt about the beginning of that game. Like Riley Leonard just looked completely like shit, and then he gets concussed. The backup comes in and lights up. By the way, he begins to light them up, gives them a spark, and then Riley Leonard comes back in the game, and he just feeds off the energy. And it was just like a completely different Notre Dame offense at that point that was able to move the ball. And oh man, I mean James Franklin, like he talk about Ryan Day. I mean, he's fine for right now, but we're going to be here next year, and we're going to be in the same predicament, and he's going to be a short dog to a top 5 team, and he's going to get destroyed again. And we're going to be like, all right, how many times are we going to go through this story?
James Franklin,
yeah, I mean,
this is going to happen every year. He can't.
No, that's
he
who
cannot
he
beat
is.
these teams. He can't beat these teams.
You know, there's speculation of how much do you blame him. I do blame him. The touchdown where you kicked a field goal at the 1-yard line, to me is stupid because Notre Dame's offense did struggle too. You could have got him into safety. You're looking at potentially a 1-point difference if you're able to get a safety there.
Just throwing the ball with like 30 seconds left in the game.
That's what I'm saying. When you know you have Drew Allar.
Yeah.
You know, like to me, you got to be calling the safest shit, one read or run. And you to me, that's coaching 101. You know what I mean? Like and
using Drew Allar to push the ball down the field.
Yeah, and even
I'll
in this
say
game,
his no, I don't know if Singleton and Allen will be back next year. I think they're both juniors, right? But they both could leave in the pros this year and easily get drafted pretty high, I would think. But if they come back and Drew Allar comes back, he'll get a little better next year, and he'll be a little more ready for the moment.
Yeah, and then they're going to go to the same situation of playing a top 5 team, and they're going to lose again.
Well, he might just be a little better prepped next time. I think
I'm sorry, Tyler
Warren's
Warren's
he made
gone.
a humongous jump. Yeah, losing Tyler Warren is huge.
Because their receivers had 0 catches. 0 catches in a game against Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I mean, look, Notre Dame's good, but come on.
Yeah.
You better go out. This was an issue the year prior. They didn't have any good wideouts. I don't understand. Like, they have Julian Fleming that came over from Ohio State. He's good. Like at this point, I start to believe it's like gotta be their system. You know, like I know that they had a new OC, but it's like, how the fuck does that happen? Like how are you Penn State? Dude, I turn on ECU playing like Tulsa and you see like 4 wideouts. You're like, whoa, who the fuck are these guys? Right now, I don't know if they could play in the Big Ten, but I'm saying, how is this not a problem for a lot of other teams in the country? And especially when you spend the way Penn State does, it seems to be just a cloud looming over the program. They haven't had, really an explosive wideout in some time. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? Just bad talent evaluation? What do you think it is, Terrell?
I think that it's just a lot of maybe not even just bad talent. It's more of this whole transfer portal and everything, and everybody's fine going everywhere. In years past, they were able to get some pretty decent wide receivers, and now everybody's, hey, I can go to play over here, or I can go play over here. I don't have to go to a Penn State to play. And so it's a little bit of the recruiting, and you have to be more aggressive and say, hey, we don't want to just lean on the defense. Like, it seems like a lot of schools out there are like, hey, we know we can shut down on defense, and we're going to keep bolstering our defense. And hey, we got to focus on the other side of the ball too, just like those air raid schools that be like, hey, we're going to keep focusing on offense, and they don't even focus on the defensive side of the ball. Like, it's got to be a little bit more balanced in some of the recruiting, and not just saying, hey, we're Penn State, we got to be an awesome defense. Like, no, we can actually get some talent on the other side of the ball too.
Yeah,
you got to do the Ohio State thing. You got to go out and hunt down the best fucking skill position talent, and Penn State doesn't do it. They might get one guy. They never have 2 or 3.
They've had no wideouts for a few years now since the kid got drafted by the Redskins.
Yeah, Dotson. Yeah. I was just about to say, Jahan Dotson was the last good wide receiver they had.
And Junior Owen, my point, he goes, Notre Dame secondary shut them down, put some respect on them. Notre Dame's defense is good, but like Notre Dame played Indiana. Elijah Surratt had 67 yards receiving. Kashawn Williams had 5 catches for 45 yards. You know, like Miles Price, their other wideout, had 5 catches for 56 yards and a touchdown. So like that's 3 wideouts that right there with 14 catches for Indiana. And some of these guys, Surratt was at JMU last year. You know what I mean?
Give Notre Dame some credit for playing good defense, but you have 2 very, very good running backs. You have a great tight end. You have the Mackey Award winner at tight end. You have plenty to occupy and a good offensive line. Plenty to pull Notre Dame up and make them like work up front and commit their front 7 to the run or short passing game. You should be able to exploit them a little bit in the back end. They weren't obviously able to do it at all.
They don't even try. Like even like wide receiver, like just little. I mean, Julian Fleming was good at Ohio State. I don't understand why he'd be shitty at Penn State. Like, I mean, yes, he was beat out by other receivers at Ohio State, but Ohio State's receivers are fucking incredible. Yeah, like, I feel like if Fleming, if Fleming transfers anywhere else, he's probably a very good wideout. Yeah, shout out to Just Slim Davis giving us $5 saying, I can't believe Texas shit the bed. He's a Horn fan, it looks like there. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry, but sorry.
Shouldn't have did Shaka Smart dirty.
Now this
we're Virginians. That's not okay.
That. Penn State did rush for 204 yards, but majority of that was in the first half. In the second half, and that's one thing you could scrutinize too, is maybe they didn't lean on the run enough in the second half with the way they ran in the first half. Drew Allar only threw for $135. Notre Dame outgained them by about I think it was 44 yards. So what's fascinating is all 4 teams left. None of them got to 400 yards. None of them got to 400 yards. So you're sitting there saying if defense matters, clearly it does. And what's crazy is that the team that outgained the other team won in all situations here. So let's talk about Marcus Freeman. A lot of people wanted him fired. I even think after he lost to Northern Illinois, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's gonna make it.
That was the second time. Like you had lost to Marshall before that, man. Yeah. Like, I mean, come on, you got to give us credit. Like you had just lost to Marshall, now you lose to Northern Illinois. Like we were very, very much in the criticism, right?
Everyone was in the right.
In that moment, we were completely right.
Yeah.
Well, and I had them to make the playoffs because I thought their schedule was dog shit. So like, and I know they flex some stat saying this is the most top 25 teams they've beat. Stop! Don't fuck with me on this. This is bullshit. They flex that. Oh, it's the most they've ever beat. Well, first off, they're playing a 12-team playoff. You know, so they're playing like 15 fucking games. So I guess it's bound to happen. But Marcus Freeman, I thought, great job. You know, he's a likable guy, man. I think you just I was discussing this with Dan O'Carter. Shout out to big time Notre Dame fan, alum, Dan O'Carter, comedian. You know, he's so likable. It's hard to adjust after having Brian Kelly before.
Well, I'll say this: Marcus Freeman is super likable because he is so measured and he always says the right thing, you know. But as far as being like overly charming, he's not. He's a very low key dude. You know, he is not like. I mean,
I think that's to his credit, though. That's to his credit. He's not
he's the guy that you want your daughter to bring home. Like you want, and very upscale. You're a very nice young gentleman. You say the right things, do the right things. Like you're a very, very good guy. Like
Yeah, and going from that though to Brian Kelly, who if your daughter brings home Brian Kelly, you're like, man, fuck this guy. You know what I mean?
Bring home Brian Kelly. I would have thrown him out like Uncle Phil did Jazz.
You're like, out of all the ones, this is the one she picks. This fucking guy just looks like a dickhead. But anyway, I don't know. I mean, so let's talk about this matchup. Obviously, Notre Dame lost. They got swept in a home and home against Ohio State over the past 2 years. Now they got rolled, I believe, in Columbus, if memory serves me correct, right, Patty? They got rolled in Columbus, and they might have dressed it up to make it look.
Who are we talking about?
2 years ago, Notre Dame was at Ohio State. 2 years ago, not last year. I thought they got rolled in Columbus and they dressed it up a little bit late, but
sounds very possible.
But last year, obviously, the drama between all that, the Holtz angle there. If you look at both these teams, I can tell you this: I think I trust Riley Leonard to like Will Howard is actually been better than I thought this season. Now, probably that's you surround yourself with enough talent. You know, like I thought coming into it, I was like, why did they not? I mean, I still think why didn't they get Cam Ward? But at the same time, like the past 3 games, Will Howard has played pretty damn good, better than I thought he was capable of. But I still think I trust Riley Leonard to play more turnover-free football than Will Howard. Would that be a fair assessment, you think?
No, I think they're very. I mean, shit. Riley Leonard had 2 terrible picks in that game. If I'm not mistaken.
I know, but he got dinged up a little bit though. Yeah,
this year. I'll say it. I ain't think that Notre Dame was going to get this far because I think Riley Leonard was playing like shit all year. Like they struggled at different times.
Specifically the Northern Illinois game.
Yeah, and so when you play down to your competition and you play some of these teams, it looks better for the stats. But like when it comes down to it in the big moments, I just didn't think that Riley Leonard looked that well, and so it really makes me concerned for the national championship. If you start throwing this Ohio State team a couple of interceptions, giving them more opportunities, it might get ugly. I'm waiting. I haven't come to a decision, but could this be like Georgia TCU? Maybe. Could this go back? Could this go back?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hang on.
We're talking about Will Howard here.
Hang on. Let me address that in a second. But before I do that, I want to let you know the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em is one of the biggest menus for other sports, and Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosted gimme pick'ems. Underdog playoff best ball is now live too. The Gauntlet tournament has $2 million in prizes up for grabs for just a $25 entry. They got college football, they got college hoops, they got everything else too. NFL, NHL, MLB, NBA, MMA, NASCAR, CFL, everything. So sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. All right. No, back to what we're talking about here. TCU though, like that was to me the last of the old era because the transfer portal had barely hit. The NIL had barely hit. So that even with TCU beating Michigan, though, I thought that was some of it was portal /NIL stuff. But I also think that you're not going to see that big of ass whoopings. I could be crazy.
It's not so much that we won't see another TCU because I think there are a lot of teams like TCU. It's that we won't see another Georgia. Yeah, exactly. Like Arizona State was TCU from a few years ago.
Yeah,
if a couple breaks go their way, they're in the national championship or at least in the semifinals.
Yeah.
But Ohio State this year, as much talent as they have, they weren't Georgia. And I don't know. I mean, Georgia, who were the pros they had? They had fucking what's his name at quarterback.
They broke the record. Most players drafted that team.
Yeah.
Well, I think Ohio State has the talent. They have the speed on defense. They're really strong there. And they also have the wide receivers on the outside. It's the offensive line and making sure that offensive line holds up. That was the whole thing coming into the playoff after the Michigan game was could this offensive line hold up? And they've been doing a pretty solid job. Tonight it was kind of back and forth and they were able to get some pressure over to Will Howard. But now I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, if that offensive line holds up again, I mean, I thought Oregon was a good defense and they destroyed Oregon. Like, I don't know. I could see Ohio State is just a team that I don't want to fade right now. Like, and I know it's 9.5 points, but there's teams that you just look at them, you're saying, wow, this team's completely locked in. And like, even in a game where they play bad, they won by 14 points. It really, really makes it tough for me not to be on Ohio State right now.
Yeah. Shout out to Junior Owen. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, I would say, like, to me, the difference is like the 2 deep and 3 deep. Like Ohio State's 2 and 3 deep is not what Georgia's was, in my opinion. But Ohio State has the best roster in college football. Coming into the season, it was them in Miami that had spent so much money that you were like, okay, those two teams had, to what we know, obviously the private schools don't release a lot of their information, but it had been speculated that Miami, who's private, and then Ohio State had spent, this gigantic, I think was it $35 million if memory serves me correct on their roster.
Got big time players.
Yeah. So, I mean, you look at Ohio State, and I guess the one flaw I think you can find with Ohio State, if you're searching, is the offensive line has not played great this year.
Will Howard is a flaw.
I was about to say, and I'll follow that with Will Howard, but Howard has, if you look at Howard, the first, 12 games and then the last 3, I think he's playing at a higher level.
He's playing good football. Yeah. I mean, I just think that Will Howard's limitations are obvious. He is essentially the same player as Riley Leonard. He might be. I think he just has better weapons downfield. I think he's probably a little bit.
I think
I've seen him throw some more dimes, a couple more dimes.
But he also, to me, throws a lot more risky balls. Like that's what I mean is Riley Leonard, to me, even though he made the mistakes this past game, over the course of the season and even at Duke, he's very careful with the ball. Yeah. And Will Howard has been throwing pick 6 all year. So that's what I was asking with that question. Like, Will Howard has a higher ceiling than Riley Leonard to me, but Riley Leonard, I think, is the one I would bet on to take better care of the football. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know if that's going to get you a win. Well,
again, here's what I think. And I think Ohio State was smart, but I still don't think they leaned on it enough. But in the national championship, if they're smart, they will. I think it's going to come down to who's willing to run their quarterback more, because they both have mobile enough quarterbacks to keep to threaten the defense, and they have a good enough running attack to make the defense completely respect at least a few gaps across the front of the line of scrimmage. And so with that alone, you can keep the defense honest and move the ball a little bit. And as long as you're willing to do it. And I think Notre Dame doesn't hesitate. To Marcus Freeman's credit, he's like, dude, Riley Leonard, you are a running back who throws the ball for the most part, and Will Howard, it takes him a while to get to that point. They even mentioned it during the game. They said they save it for special moments with Will Howard. I think if they want to win, they need to do it early and often,
Yeah. One of the things, though, I think you got to be, if you're Notre Dame, your game plan, and by the way, the spread is 9.5. We'll do an episode on this later in the week where we dive into it.
You got to think they know the spread already, right? They've been talking about it all night. Like, you got to think Notre Dame knows the spread.
What is it? Did they release it yet?
9.5.
Yeah.
9.5.
Oh, that's 9.5. They said it's like one of it's the second largest behind TCU and Georgia.
But what, to me, if you're Notre Dame, yes, you haven't really had explosive wideouts in some time. And I actually think this year they're actually one of the more athletic offenses in the past 30 years of Notre Dame football. But to me, I'd study the Michigan film. Michigan ran for like $175 on them, and they broke some big runs there. Donovan Edwards, I remember, with a couple big runs there.
Well, the other thing is Notre Dame has got three legit quick dudes in the backfield, between Price.
I smoke and I drink, and I don't have stress, and I'm healthy.
I'm still battling the flu from fucking going home.
The flu, or just the fact you live in LA and your oxygen levels?
Yeah, your oxygen is
breathing in pure carbon dioxide right now. Jadarian Price, Aeneas Williams, and Love. Yeah, and Love looked good enough to me. That was the other thing. It's like now he's got 9 or 10 days. If that knee can look better, they have a slightly more explosive running game than even TreVeyon Henderson with Ohio State. Yeah. So I think that could be a factor that keeps Notre Dame in the game.
Here's the thing, though. I think if you're looking to bet this, if you are going to take the Irish, I think this line might jump up. I think most people's reactions will be, now, I don't know. Notre Dame has a shit ton of rich people. Maybe they throw money down.
It's a lot of points. I was about to say, it's a lot of points, man. Like, it is a lot of points. Like,
but I don't know. I just feel like I actually think I would take the points at 9.5.
Cross correlation. Riley Leonard anytime touchdown. Ohio State money line. That should be a good price.
Yeah, Mullins, by the way, had the dagger run this year against Ohio State, but yeah, I don't know. We'll do an episode on that. The total is at 45.5. I will take the under on that too, even though I don't know how the hell that Penn State Notre Dame over hit. I thought coming into that, I was like, there's no way they're going to score that many points, but somehow they did.
Well, I mean, it was based on turnovers. It wasn't the offense necessarily that did it. It was short fields. So
yeah,
that happens too.
I can't wait till next season and we get to the last game of the year, and then I just hammer Michigan again against Ohio State.
Yeah, it's in Ann Arbor too. So, shout out to Robert Martin who asked, "When are the week 0 previews happening?" Well, they got to release the schedules.
Yeah, a little detail.
we have the SEC and Big Ten. I believe the ACC and Big 12 come out in the next like 18 days. But
here we go.
Let me ask you this. Who are you excited about? I'm trying to like get jazzed up for next year, and I'm sure in a couple weeks I will be, but it looks like it's going to be a very similar group of teams next year. Belichick, I'm not excited about him yet. I'm not convinced he's going to do anything.
Deion coming. You're just like, I got to watch this.
Deion, who's the quarterback they just got? I think he's from
Caden Salter from Liberty.
Not
they
Salter,
also brought in a 5-star.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to start.
I'm drawing a blank right now. He flipped from Julian Lewis. From USC.
I think Arizona State, especially with Kanye Udo transferring, I don't know how big of a drop off that's going to be, but as long as Sam Levitt is at the helm there, they're going to be a threat again.
Yeah, Georgia just lost their quarterback.
Yeah, I mean.
I can't wait till Carson Beck is laying double digits against some random team. I can't wait to fade that with Miami. Miami's going to be horrible.
Oh, I disagree.
7-5.
I think Carson Beck's a decent quarterback, and you surround him with talent against a shitty ACC
I'll lock
competition.
that on you right now.
Well, give me a number right now on Miami win total.
What do you want to say?
I'll take the under.
Whatever you said it at.
8.5.
They open with Notre Dame.
No 8.5.
What is it?
9.5.
9.5. That's a big number.
They're not getting
Miami.
I think it was 9.5 this year, right?
But they had Cam Moore this year.
How many wins did they get this year?
10, right? 10-2.
10-2. Yeah.
They had a nice schedule though. Coming into the year, I think we
saw get to 9 again.
No shot. Miami gets to 10 wins with Carson Beck at quarterback. No shot.
I think the ACC is actually catching up, Patty C, with UNC opening the checkbook.
Dude, I think Miami has 4 home games. Notre Dame to open the season. I think they get Florida at home, and then 2 maybe group of 5s at home.
And I promise you, they're gonna drop 2 of those.
Yeah, I'll bet you right now. If Carson Beck is throwing the ball in the spring, then Miami gets to 10 wins. Let's put a wager on it.
Okay. All right, I'm with it.
But how can I know we got to get out of here, but how can you say that we don't even know Oregon benefited from getting a Dylan Gabriel who was 35 years old at quarterback. Ohio State benefited from Will Howard. The portal it closed. It closed. So those
and they got a quarterback in time. And
they have Dante Moore. Oregon does, right?
No, Oregon, yeah, sure. They're gonna be fine. They're gonna be okay. Who knows how good he'll be?
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of there's a lot of question marks. I think with Ohio State, Oregon. I mean LSU would be another question mark.
But if we're talking about Miami, I don't know if we are still talking about Miami. He's been throwing like over 70% for several years now. He's a kind of a proven commodity as far as efficiency.
He's really bad.
Yeah, Diego Pavia's back, motherfucker. Vandy's winning the SEC.
Yeah, Vandy is a threat.
Vandy for the SEC.
You know who I like?
No, but honestly,
a little hard.
Who has Vandy on the schedule next year?
Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech.
Oh yeah, they're screwed. Wait, no, is he coming to Lane?
He is.
Coming to Lane? Oh,
that's
nothing like a loss for who?
For I don't know. It depends on who's quarterback.
Get the fuck out of here.
Maybe not.
Enter Sandman's going to be filled with piss. All right.
Not pissing in Lane. You can't piss in
He's
Lane.
pissing all over that.
South Carolina and Clemson are. That's actually the game I'm most excited about next year because I think both teams are going to be really good, and that rivalry is about to explode. So I am excited for that already.
Yeah, I think that like next year's card, week 1 is incredible. Take a look at it. It's already out there. We'll talk more about it over the next shit ton of months and shit ton of episodes. But thanks for rocking with us. Obviously, we're going to have 2 more episodes. We're going to have the national championship preview and picks, and also a DFS and prop episode. Myself and NC Nick. Check out those. Make sure you give Terrell Furman a follow on Twitter at @reallyrail__, and check out the NBA Gambling Podcast, the WNBA Gambling Podcast, and all his work with betting pros. He's killing it over there. Any other plugs? Am I forgetting?
No, you did good. Okay. Appreciate it. Wow.
Also check out Patty C on Twitter at PattyC831. You sparkle and argue with him. Yeah, you know, like he's just waiting for you. He's just waiting for you over there.
I'm ready to drop bombs.
I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. And we'll be doing basketball in about 20 minutes here. So check out the College Basketball Experience. The slate's like 5 million games tomorrow. It's fucking insane. Till next time. This is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.